They are? Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting and workshop of the Hyde Park Town Board. It's Monday, February 5th. Please join me as we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Hi, Dave. Okay. So may I have a motion to accept the minutes of the January 22nd meeting?
Make a motion?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have a number of resolutions on the agenda, and it is the first meeting of the month, so we have public comment on any item of town business. So if anyone would like to come up to the podium and speak, please do so now on any of those items. Okay. So then, moving ahead. So we have a couple of items on the workshop agenda, and the first is the Recreation Department, and I see we have our rec director and our vice chair and our chair here, so come on up and join us at the table here, and we'll have a little bit of an update on some various efforts of the Recreation Department and Commission. Thank you guys for coming out. Nice to see you. Maybe everybody would just like to take a minute and introduce yourselves.
Nicole Knowles.
And you're the vice
chair.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Kathleen Davis, Recreation Director.
Carl Beard with the National Park Service Rivers and Trails Program on loan to Hyde Park Trails.
Great, thanks.
Stephen Woodcock, I'm the chair for the commission.
Thanks. Well, thank you for coming out and joining us tonight. Okay, so I know there's always things going on in the rec department and in the rec commission. So the first item that we have on the workshop is the Hyde Park Trails website request for proposal for a website developer. So I know this was a grant well, Kathleen, why don't you just kind of give us an overview of where you are on that?
Okay. So in 2016, we applied to the Hudson River Valley Greenway for a grant to help fund a couple of things, a couple improvements for the Hyde Park Trail. One is a new website. The second is a trailhead kiosk at Mills Norris State Park, where the newest section of the trail is. And the third is the new trail map guide and brochure. So tonight we're here to go over the request for proposals that we've drafted up for the development of the Hyde Park Trail website. Now, I think everybody has a copy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Carl and I basically we borrowed an RFP from the Greenway, where they had developed a RFQ for, I think, was it for their website or maybe another partner's website?
We took coaching from Greenway.
You got to talk into the microphone.
Yeah, we took coaching from Greenway on their
okay.
website development.
Okay.
So, so basically, Carl, did you want to kind of just,
Yeah.
since you're an expert, go over the RFQ?
Well, yeah, I think the basic thing is, right now the trails occupy one page on the town's website. They also occupy sections of pages of New York State Parks, National Park Service, Winnicke Land Trust, Scenic Hudson, and things like that. So on one page of here, we've listed all of the scattered places where the different things can be found that relate to Hyde Park Trails. I think we can say with a little bit of pride that Hyde Park Trails is kind of leading the pack in town trail systems in the Hudson Valley, and we get a fair amount of attention. And our sense was that the trail system by itself deserves more play than it gets right now. So that's what was the origin of our thinking for this, and basically what this would do is to create one-stop shopping under a kind of a revised design that would provide access to all of our site-based trail maps, we actually have I think 5 video podcasts of a geologist talking about the trails. We have audio podcasts on 5 of our trails. We have 2 guidebooks, one an Arboretum guidebook, one a handbook for families on sections of our trails. Even on my agency's website, to find those things, it's something like 9 clicks deep in the website. When I was asked how to find them, I could not. And it's my own agency's page. That's a little bit embarrassing. And so I'd like to, anyway, that's the basic idea, and what we'd like to do is to go to a contractor, be informed by some of the other trail-based websites that are much more user-friendly, and have a couple of enhancements so that we could adapt to changes as they happen over time.
Well, it sounds like a worthy effort, for sure. And like you say, we really are leading the charge in terms of trail development, and that we owe to you guys. So thank you for that, for all of you. So just one of the ideas that Emily and I were talking about last night, because the town is also pursuing a new website identity.
You are?
Yes, we are, yeah. And in fact, I'm in need of putting my team effort together, the project team, to get that moving ahead. So we just didn't know if there might be an opportunity to really utilize this new web designer that we are currently working with. We had put out an RFP in the middle of the year last year, and then finally awarded to Civic Plus. And so I'm not sure exactly how we would do that, but I mean, it seems like you could create a link that would be very prominently displayed, or not. I mean, I'm just kind of
We would
putting...
want to do that, by the way. That's stipulated. It's Hyde Park.
Right. So, but I mean, do you think that that having a presence on the town web page would be something that would be adequate to meet your needs, or you're envisioning a completely separate? I mean, I know that the grant award that you received was for the website development, and along with these other items, but I'm just wondering if, in fact, having a very prominently displayed page on the town page might be of benefit.
And then we would link over to their website, or you just think
I'm
of just a
saying,
page?
yeah, that's kind of what I'm suggesting, but this is not, I'm not a technophile, so.
Or, can I just suggest,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be its own website with its own URL and everything.
Right.
Just somehow developed in concert with the development of the town, you know, just since they're working with us anyway, that it just might be an opportunity. But I don't want to make, if your idea was for the trails to be a separate thing that wasn't, within the umbrella of the town,
Right.
that's totally fine.
That's totally fine, too.
Yeah.
That was actually one of our questions that I think is embedded in this proposal, is to answer that question, help us figure out the answer to that question. How do we retain a specific identity for Hyde Park trails and yet have it strongly connected to town of Hyde Park? So, I think that's, really important.
Well-
So, how we get there, I frankly don't care.
Right. So, if you don't mind, so who runs the website now? So if somebody's out on the trails and they're taking some pictures, who has access to the website currently that we have?
Well, we don't have a website.
We have the page on.
We have the page on our current town website, which...
Oh, so you have a Facebook?
We have a Facebook.
You have a
Right. The
Facebook,
Facebook
that's where I
page.
see the post.
That's
Right,
where
right.
we post events that are coming up, work days, pictures,
Right, so right now,
information.
we don't have an actual website for
We have a page
the
on the
we
town's
have a
website.
page,
Right.
right.
So the basic idea is our sort of stationary information would reside on the website. That's the maps, the
With the
podcasts.
free annual events.
Right, the
stuff like that,
stationary
but-
calendar of events and stuff like that. So that would not have to be messed with too much unless we change maps, which happens once a year or something like that. And then the more dynamic stuff, the photographs, the event announcements, sign-ups for events, that all happens on the Facebook page. We don't want to have to change websites and stuff to do stuff that lasts for 2-3 weeks.
Right, right.
And we want to be able to, whoever we hire, we want them to train us how to use the website and update it ourselves.
Right.
So we're not, dependent on that firm.
Right,
And
if you're
paying
out,
that
right,
firm
if you're
to
out
do
on the
that.
trail and you're taking some pictures of a new trailhead or an update on
A new map or.
whatever it might be, you won't be able to download that quickly and,
Well, that's more dynamic. That stuff would happen more on the Facebook page, but
Okay.
if we have like a great new scene or something like that we think should be, masthead or something like that, yeah, we'd like to be able to do something like that.
Well, it might be good to at least explore the Civic Plus option, just because if you are learning how to, use the website anyway for the town recreation page, then, you could have another page that's a similar format and style of uploading information for the trails, whether or not it's within the town's website. At least it's just one learning curve, for how to make those updates and everything. Is that,
Yeah, I think
So
that's,
some
that,
type
yeah,
of
of
that?
course, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to tell you guys what to do, but maybe it's just an option to explore.
Well, we could, maybe we could send them, the RFQ.
Yeah, right, right.
It could be one of our,
Yeah.
Sure, yep.
Because you're in contract with this firm, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
Already, yeah.
Yeah, we were just
And
beginning
is
the
it-
update process.
So is the plan then for the, like me to be able to update
Yep.
my own webpage?
Yeah, with that, yes, that's what we're looking for, certain information to be able, for the department heads to be able to upload that information on their own. That's the plan. I know Steve is out in the audience, and I think he has some thoughts on that, we've kind of had discussion on. Do you want to come on up to the,
Well, first I want to correct one thing. The trails part of the Hyde Park website is not one page. It is a page, one page for every trail that are all linked together.
Right.
I think some of the things to consider are, first of all, there's really no reason to expend the cost of hosting in 2 different locations. So as far as saving that money, it really needs to be hosted with the town's new website. Secondly, if you want people to understand that this is part of the town offering, it ought to have the same look and feel as the town website. Now, currently, the company that's doing the new website is converting our existing site to their framework. So the existing trail pages will get converted into the new website. If after that happens, the trail committee still wants a new website, they ought to be looking for someone that can do it within the framework of the new website. The new website is really going to be a completely different model where as I understand it, the pages could be edited by a layman. You don't have to know any special web or HTML encoding. It's basically drag and drop. So the kind of person you'd be looking for is more a graphic designer that can work within whatever tool set they give us to create the look and feel that you want, but will still have the same kind of style and headers that the town website has.
does that make sense to you guys? Is that kind of was your thought process, or?
Well, it depends on what they come up with in terms of layout. And I'm thrilled to hear that you guys are doing that. And my guess is that we're probably thinking along generally similar lines, because web design has evolved, in the last few years. So, I mean, it really depends, but I don't see it showstopper of a problem.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, and I would think you're probably thinking the same way, we don't want this webpage getting lost within all of Hyde Park's planning board, zoning board, town board. I mean, this really needs to be a highlight of what we have for our recreation department. And I can see it being interactive, because the trails are really a gem that we have here in Hyde Park, and it should be highlighted in a way that they deserve. And I would hate them to be buried within the pages of our own website already.
Technically,
If I
it's
don't-
feasible to create a trails.hydeparkny.us URL.
Right.
So that it would have its own URL. Whether or not this company allows that, I don't
Right.
know. But then once you've done that, you could advertise that link instead of hydeparkny.us/recreation/trail.
Right, yeah, I don't want 9 clicks to find our trails.
Or you could
So-
probably even make just like hydeparktrail.org or something like that and have it point to
That's
it,
right.
Like
Right,
even if
that's
it
kind of, I
was,
think that's what we're looking.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that,
Exactly, yeah.
that becomes difficult because then you're talking about two completely separate domains, two accounts, if you will, and you may end up getting charged more for that. I mean, trails.hydeparkny.us becomes a subdomain, which they shouldn't charge anything extra for.
As long as there's a link to get to it, I mean.
And it also reinforces that this is part of the town.
Well, it isn't, I mean, I don't know technically, but it's not entirely the town's thing, right? I mean, the trails is a partnership, right? So it's,
Yes.
Yeah.
So we appear on everybody else's, parts of us,
Right.
parts of our body appear on other people's websites.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But if you build the website and you have that URL, we could go to the Winnicke Trust, we could go to the national parks and say, hey, if you share this, it's all encompassing of what you're
They all
looking
agree.
for. Yeah,
They all
Oh.
agree already.
That's important.
that's very important.
Yeah.
It's just consistent.
So who do you envision being the person who would be kind of leading the charge on the website? It would be the town as the lead, yeah? Yeah. And so that would just become one of the tasks that you would do as the rec director, would be to keep the trail website updated. And, I'm not familiar with the hosting costs. What are they typically, Steve?
Well, currently, we're paying $150 a year.
Yeah, so they're nominal, yeah. Yep. So, Steve, just being as you're at the podium, is your comments on the RFP were that you thought that we should kind of direct it more towards a graphic design?
Right, with the new web framework, you don't have to be a web developer. I mean, the way they described it when they were here, anybody within the town hall could update their own page, so.
Yeah. But I think what we're hearing, though, is that we really want to have this distinct presence of the trails, and that's the concern, I assume, because just the vibe I'm getting, that if it was incorporated into the actual website that will be developed, that would be of concern to you, that it wouldn't be as prominent as you had hoped?
Yeah, I just think it might get, I think it would be, again, a little more difficult to find, like if someone has to go to the town's website and then go to Hyde Park Trails, it's just,
Well,
that's what
oh,
the
I'm sorry.
plan was, to create a
Yeah.
standalone website, with links to the town website, to the National Park Service website, our other partners. I think that was the whole concept. just
Sure.
so it's a
Well,
one-click.
I think one of the reasons that we decided to plunge ahead with the website, because it is a substantial cost to the town, is that we felt strongly that we needed to have a more modern public face and something that, went beyond just the government function, and that we could really promote the town as a whole, because that's, the key to the future, really. So I think that you know, the trails being a very big component of our town is really what we're saying, that we'd like to have them very strongly connected, if not as one entity, but, you know, very strongly linked. So I think that, you know, with these RFPs, it's interesting to put them out, and that you get a lot of information back, even if in fact it doesn't elicit the complete proposal that you're looking for. And, you know, I hope that it does, but to me, it looks like it's definitely worth doing, and I'd like to see what kind of response we get.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if anyone has any, so full steam ahead in that regard, but thank you, Steve. So Kathleen, did you kind of want to give us some other updates?
Oh,
So Carl, thank you so much for coming in and, you know, reviewing that, and also for your partnership.
Well, thanks for your consideration
Yeah.
in this.
Sure.
I just have one other question before you move forward. Your Facebook page that you have for Hyde Park Trails, I'm sure that would be connected to this new website, because that's...
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right, so who's in charge of that right now? That's you?
yeah.
There
And
there-
Carl,
there are
too.
3 administrators.
Okay.
I have a little complication in the last couple of months, because apparently my government computer will not let me talk to the Hyde Park Trails Facebook, so I'm kind of cheek on the canvas for that right now.
Right.
But we're still looking for a solution for that. But yeah, there are 3 of us that are
Okay.
administrators.
Yeah, I was just always curious. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so when are the proposals due back?
Well, I guess we were sort of, this was a draft, so I think we could set the date, maybe tonight. If the RFQs go out, or, excuse me, the RFPs go out for, go out in, what's today, the 5th? Donna, do we have to, it's not like a formal bid, so we
No.
just contact, you know, website developers, and we could,
Do you have a list of developers that you will contact, or not?
we have a,
We have a partial list.
yeah,
Partial list, and then?
yeah. So if anybody knows of anyone, we'll
We're
include,
open to suggestions still.
yeah.
Well, you could.
Yeah, I would, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was just going to say, you might want to call Civic Plus first.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Because
Since they're
it may
working
be,
with
since
Yeah.
they're already doing this, they could do sort of an add-on project for
Yeah.
Right.
you, and it might be a little different than a standalone project, but you might get a better deal, you know,
Yeah.
since they're already working with the
Yeah.
towns. And, you know, if it was for a separate URL or whatever, it still could kind of work together, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
And so, just to review the total grant, that it was for how much? What was the total grant award?
The final award was 7,500.
And that was for website, 3,700 for the website,
Right.
and the balance, and the other components were a kiosk, and what
Yeah.
else?
Yeah,
And a
about
map guide, a new map guide.
the new map guide. Oh, sure.
And what was our match on that?
Well, the match would have been, it's 50%,
50%.
Yeah,
so,
it's a 50/50 grant.
So-
The match is, I think we overmatched a little bit. I think our match is still based on the original $10,000 request, so we're going to be over.
Oh, so you're saying that you would only need 5,000, or no?
No.
No, you're saying
we
we
would
need
need 7,500.
7,500.
But the workload hasn't gone down, just
I
because the
see.
grant award has gone down. So we're figuring we're going to match with about $10,000 worth of in-kind service.
Okay, and that in-kind is going to come from the national park and
A variety of
sources? Okay.
sources, yeah.
So is there going to be a cash match also? Do you think?
oh, from the town?
Yeah, mhm.
I don't.
I don't believe
think
there is.
so.
Okay.
No, it's all
Good.
in kind,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks to Greenway, they have a
Yeah,
local map
Greenway's been very generous to,
policy
yeah.
that makes all this possible, frankly.
Yes, definitely. They've been a great partner for the town through many years. Okay, well,
So as far as getting, you know, sending out the RFPs, we can probably hope maybe to get them back, say, by March 15th, maybe? Something like
that
that?
seems like.
The Ides of March?
That's too long.
That's too long?
Yeah,
Yeah.
too long.
that seems-
Okay, March 1st, or is that too
Yeah.
early? March 1st?
That should be-
Yeah.
March 5th? That's a month, yeah, right.
You probably need a month from when you send it
Yeah,
out.
Okay.
yeah, because you're
Yeah,
probably not
it's-
really going to get them out tomorrow,
Yeah, it's a
right?
short month,
Yeah, yeah, so
yeah.
I would say March 15th.
March 15th,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kathleen, any talks between Winnicke and National Park Service connecting those two trail systems?
Yeah.
Where we are with that?
Well, it's difficult because the property owner isn't really interested right now. As far as,
Oh, there's a piece of property, there's an owner in there that's holding that up?
yeah.
Winnicke is interested. They
That's
have-
that'd be a great connection.
You mean in the Farm Lane area? Is that what you mean,
You know,
to
but
connect
kinda like behind
Winnicke?
Old Pete's and,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just, we have a beautiful trail system and there's a lot of unmarked trails that can get you over to the National
But if
Park
they're not
Service.
marked.
But it would be nice if we actually had a real trail system that.
There is a
connects it.
historic road that goes from the farm lane to what is now Winnicke Preserve that on the Roosevelt maps is called Road to Rogers.
Huh?
And so that would be an obvious way to connect, but it crosses a major single parcel. Winnicke's interested, but it's a careful landowner negotiation.
Right, gotcha.
But if the town was, were interested in supporting it and maybe pursuing it, it would be a big help, it could help, because it's just been years, we keep reapproaching them and nothing seems to happen,
Mm.
so.
That'd just
we-
be a great connection.
And
It would.
it's funny, the study you did, the maps,
Oh,
the
one of the,
infrared.
this is maybe getting too far in the weeds, but if you heard about the Strava heat map
Yeah.
problem that was in the news last week, and that is there's this, when you wear fitness devices, that they report to the mothership up there, and this company named Strava had put out a global map of where all this
Oh,
activity
I
is
saw
happening.
that, yeah.
It's several years of aggregated data, and the concern was that our military people are wearing these on their missions and on their bases, and they're revealing movement patterns there. And so some of us started thinking, well, we know where there are fitness nuts, in this country. And so if you look on Strava heat map and look at Hyde Park, you'll learn a lot about where people
Oh, wow.
are recreating.
Oh, that's cool.
What's the website?
Yeah,
Like all lit up.
Is that you?
that's me.
Oh, okay.
That's me. That's me on the trail system. That's me.
So yeah,
Running in
if you-
circles.
It's Strava. It's
STRA.
STRAVA heat map. Just Google that and you'll find it. And then it'll give you the global map and just put in Hyde Park, New York, and you'll
See
get
where everybody's walking and
How
running and
funny.
biking.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That
amazing.
sounds cool.
And the end-to-end hike is fantastic. I really enjoy that every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
that's the big event.
brings in a lot of people from a
Yeah.
lot of different
It does.
communities.
Yeah, about 85, 90 people a year, and we're a little bit nervous about growing it
Right.
because we don't have enough van drivers, frankly.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad you think so.
Love it. I love it.
So now that we have you captured here, so do you want to tell us a little bit about Earth Day? Is that in your,
Oh, it is.
yeah, your-
Yeah, the National Park is going to host an Earth Day event Saturday, April 21 at the drive-in. It's tentatively called, once again, Drop Off at the Drive-In. We'll have electronics, recycling, things like that.
Oh, good.
But we're also very anxious to work with other partners.
Yeah.
We have Cornell Cooperative Extension Master Gardeners coming in to talk about planting, composting. We've got, I think, all of the garden associations in town, doing tents of their own. Clearwater just signed
Oh,
up to be with
nice.
us. I can't believe they're not going to be on the river somewhere. We'll have a couple of ranger-guided events for kids. And the town has pitched in, the CAC and the Visual Environment Committee will be pitching in as well. I'm probably leaving others out, but we're still open for, other.
yeah, I think it'd be great if the Chamber of Commerce connected with you on that too, did some sort of promotional things that day,
Yeah, exactly. Pitches, anything that's Earth Day related in theme, and we'd love to talk with you. Last year we had, I think 380 cars we counted,
Wow.
at 2.5 people per car. That's 800 or 900 visitors. it rained, so a lot of people didn't get out of their cars.
Yeah.
But we're going to change the configuration of the site, the flow pattern, so that people will be more encouraged to come to tents and, you know, and frankly,
In
have fun.
addition to dropping off their unused electronics.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it was terrific last year.
Yeah.
I got rid of a lot of stuff.
we got rid of, I think, 26 Gaylords pallets, you know, worth of electronics.
Amazing.
Which is twice what we planned for. The company gratefully, you know, diverted another semi-trailer our way and dropped off more
Great.
stuff. So we're planning on 26 again.
So that's April 21st?
April 21st,
At the
Saturday.
Hyde Park Drive-In. And is there a charge for?
No, no, ma'am. No.
Wow, that's
That's great.
fantastic. Okay, you're going to definitely see me.
I don't have anything left now.
All right. So, Carl, thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming in, and
Am I excused now?
you're excused. Unless you want to talk about the refrigerator.
I've seen the refrigerator. You need to do something. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
Thank you,
take
Carl.
care now.
It's good seeing you. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I know you guys have a lot of other things that you're working on and getting ready for camp and all those other good things, so let's hear about them. Well, I think before we move on to that, though, maybe you could, and Joe, I know you were involved with the Teen Center. Do you want to give us an update on how that all went?
Oh, okay. It went pretty well.
Thank
We
you.
had probably about, I don't know, 55 kids maybe, I think, or at least.
We gave out about 55 kids. Probably had a little less.
Yeah.
It was a smaller number than in the past, but there were a lot of changes. And also the spread of time that went by. And it was very cold out. I think we lost some kids who had tickets and didn't show up just because it was so cold that their parents didn't want to come out. But the
And
kids
flu
that were
season.
there really, and it's flu season, people
Yeah.
are afraid to be in crowds. But the kids that were there had a really good time, especially in the gym, because there was less students, so there was more room, so they could actually play basketball.
But I do feel that if we had the numbers that we normally do, we had sufficient chaperoning.
Oh,
that
we had
night.
definitely had plenty of
Yeah, you have plenty of
chaperones.
people that were, so it was very
Yeah.
well controlled, and, yeah, that's good.
We
It was
had
safe.
everybody sign in that was either a staff person or a volunteer. I think there were like 18 people on the list, so.
Oh, wow,
it was
so
great.
almost as many chaperones as.
Kids, yeah.
But I think they all had a really good time, and I think the kids enjoyed, you know, just the ambiance of it. You know,
Yeah.
It was a lot more kind of, you know, more roomy, even though we had less room. We didn't have 2 gyms, but we didn't need it. But we think the program will grow back again as soon as people
Sure.
get used to the idea of having to, you know, fill out their registration forms and return them to us in order for the kids to get their tickets. It's just, you know, a process, and it's.
And I think that we had a good discussion with one of the St. Peter's moms.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss that, I think, a little bit better on
Yeah.
how to connect with
Yeah.
the St. Peter's students and some homeschool students
I think
to make
that's
sure that
wonderful.
all the children of
Yeah.
the area can be included.
Yeah.
It really is a nice, safe space for them to come, and we're trying to keep it safe. And
Yeah.
the intake process was easy, you know, the
Good.
kids came.
So did you distribute the materials in a different way than had been done in the past? And do you think that's one reason that there was a decreased attendance? or-
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
because in the past, the children would just come to the sign-up table at lunchtime and get a ticket. They'd fill out their name and their address and their grade and, you know, if they want a ticket. You know, on the other side was the rules listed, and they signed that they've read the rules. But we've decided, since we were so short on, you know, volunteers and supervision, it was sort of dwindling over the years, that we needed to do something different in order to have enough supervision. You know, so we all met and we discussed it, and you know, for most programs, including, you know, all our programs, our camp programs, we require the parent to fill out a permission form, with a code of conduct for the children to read and sign, for the parents to sign. And so that's what we did. We distributed this pack of probably 3 or 4 papers with the initial cover letter explaining the whole process, registration form and waiver, a code of ethics for the youth to sign, and then also a final page for the parents that want to volunteer, that they could sign up as a volunteer. And so they were required to return that to the Haviland Middle School, where we picked it up and created a list of those that were registered. So on the Wednesday before Teen Center, when we usually go to give out the tickets, when they came up to the table, we asked them for their name. You know, if they had returned their paperwork, we had them all there, so we pulled it. And if they had their paperwork back, they got their ticket. That's how it works. And if they didn't have their paperwork, we gave them another package to take home, you know, and said, get
That
this back.
sounds well organized, yeah. So-
9 students returned their packet. We gave out quite a few more packets. 9 students returned. I went back on Thursday and filled them out, and then Patty, the student service person at Haviland, she gave them to the students. And we did have 1 or 2 students come with their signed packet that night, and Kathleen dealt with them towards the front of the building. The entrance table was in the middle of the hallway further down. But I think it worked out well.
It sounds
and-
like it was successful. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I
And I think it's just a change in
Yeah.
structure,
Yeah.
kind of weeds, you know,
Yes.
and flu season, there's more than flu going around. There's all sorts of crazy stuff
Yeah.
going around. People are just, and it was just really, really cold, because I know that there were kids on the list who didn't show up.
Sure.
And I think it was just so cold.
And I
Yeah.
think one of the key things too is that with that number of chaperones, it allows for Kathleen or Diane and the police officer to kind of roam
Yeah,
Yeah,
without
the
being
police
assigned to
officer
a
was
specific
roaming.
spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Well-
Joe, I want to thank you for all your help. You
yeah.
really
Joe
helped
did a
you're
steer
great,
that
an
whole
outstanding
project.
job on that,
You're welcome.
and for you guys
Yeah.
too.
We'll send out another doodle poll for March.
So it is on for March.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
we'll
what's
do
the
it
date?
on
March?
2nd.
March 2nd. Great,
Yeah.
wonderful.
I think we'll get a better turnout now
Sure.
that they know it's actually happening,
Again.
and they know the paperwork processing.
Yeah,
I would like to venture into seeing how we could get the packets home, because there are a lot of parents, you know, via Facebook and other things that, oh, we never got a packet home. And I know a lot of
Yeah.
times when Grace was in elementary school that I didn't get stuff home either.
right.
And so we tried to, you know, put them to the town website.
Yeah,
They could
and you have
download
it up there so they
Yeah.
could download it. Mhm.
And that was one of the St. Peter's
St. Peter's, yeah.
issues.
Issues.
We delivered the packets, but they never got to the students.
Apparently,
Because it-
St.
We
Peters
delivered
doesn't
them.
want to distribute because not all their students are
I
within
see.
our borders, so
There's
they
8
don't
districts.
qualify.
So,
So, I mean,
It'd be confusing.
I can see
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
their side of it,
Yeah.
so we need to really focus on a way to
Yeah.
include those students.
And the packet is once for the season, right? I mean,
Yes,
it's just
once
so
it's-
people understand,
Yep.
once they do that,
They're
then
on
they
my
can
list.
get a ticket for each event without having
Wait
to do
until
that again.
December of
Yeah.
2018. Yeah.
How many
Okay.
students do you think are in the Hyde Park Central School District area that are at St. Peter's?
25.
25.
So
So-
I actually talked to the principal last week, and she asked me to bring over 25 more. We had brought 25 over before Christmas.
But I mean, you
brought them
could,
back again.
they could send them for 25 people, right?
Just mail them.
Just mail them to the parents,
Well, I
right?
mean,
They
we sent them
could.
to the school. She was going to give them to the teachers.
But I'm just saying, if their concern is that distributing them to
Oh.
students outside the Hyde Park
Right.
district, I'm just
Right.
saying they could take, it wouldn't be that hard to look up the addresses
Yeah.
and mail them. I mean, 25 times 50 cents, you know, it's $12.50. I don't know. We could spring for that. if
I
we
also
to.
had asked this particular parent if she knew if there was a parent who would want to be kind of the contact.
Yeah,
person
that's a
in
good
school.
idea, because it really
So
is
she did
predicated
have-
on that.
She did have somebody that she thought she could talk
No,
to.
it's 50. Did I say 25? Oh. Well, it's like 53. So, so yeah, that's a good idea, because it really is predicated on that, on having the parents be part of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody came on time, you know, pick up their
great.
child.
Oh, yeah, I was home by 9:20.
Nice. Yay.
I was like, whoa,
Well, that's
they're
great.
gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
All
was
right,
good,
good.
it was good.
Yeah.
So moving on, so I know that you had put in a request for a new industrial refrigerator for Hackett House. So could you just kind of go over that for us?
Sure. So well, we have, for our day camp, we have a 3-door commercial size refrigerator that, you know, has the capacity to hold at least, you know, 125 to 150 lunches a day. And the refrigerator that's there it's called the Quartermaster Building, so it's not actually in the house, is probably about 55 years old, maybe. It's pretty old. The Boy Scouts had it, and I know they probably bought it around 1970.
We're cutting edge here.
I wasn't expecting that.
We get our money's worth out of it.
Yeah, the pool and
We still have
the
to go down to the-
refrigerator went in at the
We still have
same
to go down to the
Yes.
river and get blocks of ice.
Yeah, a lot more years left than that.
Okay. So, you know, especially over the past few years, we've had every time we turn it on, you know, in, you know, April or May to get it going, you know, to figure out if it's going to stay cold. It hasn't, so there's some kind of leak in it somewhere in a couple of different places. We've got to get it filled with Freon. I think last year one of the fans broke. It's just, you know, there's just been so many repairs, you know, like last year we had to get it repaired twice, the year before that, you know. So it's just not cost effective. It's not energy efficient.
No.
You know, it's not an energy saver at all, you know.
So did you price them as of yet, or no?
Yeah, so I got a couple of prices. I went online to New York State Office of General Services to see if there was a contract and an award. And there is, and the vendor for that sent me the price and the specs on the model that we're looking at. It's a 3-door. Does everybody have a copy of it?
Yeah, I do. Does everyone else have
I
it?
saw it on the email, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's in
it's
our
on the
folders.
email.
Yes.
right
It looks
now.
nice.
Okay.
I want one.
Long.
Was it like an Energy Star or some kind of a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, with LED
We're gonna keep
interior
it
lights.
for another couple of
Yeah,
decades.
50,
Might as well.
55, another 55 years.
Yes, at least. So, so anyway, the vendor on. We're still going to be around, right? So the quote from the vendor online, or not online, the quote from the vendor who had the award with New York State was, let's see now, is that the up-to-date one? The prices went up as of 2018, so. Yeah, Duchess, and theirs went up too, so, right, okay, so theirs was the vendor that is on the New York State Award, his base quote is $5,417 for the Reach and refrigerator. It's a Trolson model number, G30010, and then I went to Duchess Restaurant Equipment, and it's the same refrigerator, and their quote is $5,360. And it also includes the delivery charge of $325. Well, excuse me. In addition, the Duchess Restaurant Equipment quote includes the delivery charge of $325, and then the removal of the old refrigerator, which is big, for $250. So the total quote from Duchess is $5,670.
Okay, that's great.
So, you know, it would be probably cost effective.
Does the other one
Yeah.
include the
No, it doesn't, yeah,
Doesn't include delivery or removal?
no, that would be all
that's
added
what
on
you
too.
need to
So
know.
it's a little bit more
Yeah.
than Duchess, and it's nice to use
Local.
someone local.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They have the same service and warranty, compressor warranty. But again, if you're using Duchess, hopefully they're sending some guy from here as opposed to state. I don't know where they come from.
Yeah, they're coming from, I think it's upstate somewhere.
Kathleen, is that quote from Duchess is that in
Tucson, Arizona.
From Arizona.
That's all.
is that in the packet, the quote from the Duchess? Or,
Oh,
because they want only,
yeah. you could-
Is that in that email we got?
I
There's
don't
a lot of
remember.
pages.
Yeah.
I
oh,
even read it.
good, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that, okay, good. So if we get this on for the next agenda, the next town board meeting, is that adequate time?
Oh, sure. yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll get that on, that's great.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So then, just the final thing, and, you may not really be prepared for this, but a lot of times we get suggestions through Facebook or email, just on different programs that other communities have, and I thought it would be an interesting endeavor to kind of look and see what other communities do for the rec programs. So I'm not sure if you have had a chance to look into that as of yet, Kathleen?
Yeah, I
or-
created a simple, kind of a general
Cool.
spreadsheet just to kind of go over
Oh, nice. Great.
some of the different local towns here and what they
Oh, great, thank you.
are offering.
Okay. Did anything jump out at you in particular, or?
It was kind of interesting. Actually, it looks like we have more events than any other of the
Uh-huh.
other towns.
Well, that's good information.
Yeah. We have more concerts.
Yeah.
But it was interesting just to see that some of the towns have different ideas. Like you said, it was an interesting study to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, let's see, Beekman, they combine their Fall Fest and their Halloween into one event.
Okay.
So they'll have Fall Fest with vendors, hay rides, pumpkin patch, a haunted house, things like that, which we have some of that at Fall Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, for our Halloween party, we have the costume contest. And we actually did combine them once, a couple years ago.
The haunted house, or the Fall Fest, and the
costume party.
And you didn't find it to be, or how did you find that?
We thought it was, I don't know, it was kind of late in the season
Mm-hmm.
for the Fall Fest. But,
Yeah, it
again.
can be cooler and less, yeah.
Yeah,
It
we
was
had
like
it.
summer this last fall fest.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wasn't it really warm?
Yeah, it was really warm.
You remember a few years ago, we were trick-or-treating in the snow?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
We were.
Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's...
So some of the other things that some of the towns had, and I guess it really depends on what they have. Like, for instance, Poughkeepsie, they have a spring festival at Vassar College over at their farm, and they have some different activities there with the egg hunt. They also, for their community day, they do their Arlington Street Fair, where they, work with the chamber. And they also do an apple cider ramble up at Peach Hill, because they have, that Peach Hill Park. They have a lot of apple trees, so people
Oh.
pick apples and then they
Oh,
press
that's
them.
kind of nice, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
They also do like a sunset moonrise hike at Peach Hill, because they've got a beautiful view up there. Again, we don't have anything that would really, we have a good view from. We'd probably have to go, I know, well, Winnicke has a really great, they have the Burger Hill where they do their full moon hikes. But let's see, they have, Unionvale does like a homeschoolers takeover Timer Park Day. So it gives like the homeschoolers, the opportunity to come together and use the park and have a little festival or a day out. Let's see, Pauling, for their egg hunt, they partner with the firehouse, one of the fire departments, so I think there's just one in Pauling. But, so they sponsor like a pancake breakfast and the egg hunt together.
That's fun.
And there's a fee. They charge like $10. And that's what Beekman does too. They actually have where you have to register for the egg hunt. Where ours is free, and some of the other towns theirs is free. Beekman also has a pretty well established sponsor program and list where they, if you want to, if you're a vendor and you want to come to one of the events, you can sign up as a vendor for the event, buy a space, and sell whatever you're going to sell. So it kind of increases the, the opportunity for people to do different things, while they're there. And they have also a graded sort of sponsorship where if you are going to be a major sponsor, say for $1,000 for a major event, they'll put up signs like at the entrance into the park, you know, that this program is sponsored by whatever it might be. But, oh, yeah, ABC Corporation. So, you know, another way to make money or to offset the costs to the town.
And it's up on their website, Beekman. It's right on their webpage what the sponsorships are.
Oh,
and
okay.
What they entail.
All right.
And Steve's been working on that. We've been working together sort of to try to begin to establish something like that.
Okay,
You know,
I like
a
that.
fee-based sponsorship for some of our programs to offset the cost. Let's see, what else is going on here? Oh, on Facebook, too.
Speaking of Facebook, we are actually combining the multiple pages that we've had. We're starting to combine them to one.
Okay.
So that way, you know, there's that one Facebook page
Yeah.
that everybody can go to, and all the events are going to be on there.
Great.
I think the tough part with it's a great thing, but it is tough. Is we have multiple parks, where most of the other towns only have like one park and
Yeah.
one facility that everybody goes to.
Very
So it's really
centralized.
just trying to combine everything to really Hackett Hill right now. And then if we do have events at another park, just, you know, still have it on the Hackett Hill, you know, Facebook page, but have the event address at another park. But yeah, getting Facebook down and getting people to actually go to that Facebook page, I think will really help.
Yeah, and the town's website for the recreation page isn't really that user-friendly. And another study I did was to see what towns use this company and software program called MyRec. And it's really, I mean, it's a great software program. And most of the other towns on this list do use MyRec. I have it listed actually under Survey of Programs, underneath the Survey of Special Events, all the way to the right. We use ActiveNet, so if you want to sign up online, you go to ActiveNet.
Okay.
I mean, it's a really good financial software program as far as keeping track of monies and reports, all different kinds of agency reports and distribution reports. It's very good at that. But it's not as user-friendly as MyRec. So if you go to some of these other, for instance, if you go to Beekman or the town of Poughkeepsie's recreation page, it's designed by MyRec. And it's really, you know, it looks like really fun. You know, everything is like,
Click and go.
yeah, click and go, and, you know, inviting and colorful, and you can drop down menus, and it's just so,
But
it's
does
so,
it all-
you know, I'm thinking of, you know, actually getting a quote from them and see if we could switch over to them.
Does it provide the financial aspect also?
I want to investigate that a little bit, but so
Yeah.
far, the other towns are really happy with it. Beekman is very happy with it. They even sponsored MyRec to come to their, they sponsored an informational session there on MyRec. I couldn't make it that day, but the woman did contact me and wants to meet with me. So they were sort of new a few years ago. They were still developing their software package for recreation departments, but they've really come along, and I think, you know, it looks so much easier than
Yeah.
ActiveNet. So I'm going to try to get a quote for that, and you know, if you think about it, you know, just check out those websites,
Okay.
and you can see, you know, how inviting it is and easy it is to register for things. And I think something like that would make a big difference as far as attracting people and just getting them the information they need on what we have to offer,
Sure.
you know. So,
Well, great. So I'm sure this is good fodder for discussion at the Rec Commission and just getting ideas from what other communities are doing. And it's nice to just keep current with your programming, so.
yeah,
good.
definitely, yeah.
Well, good. And it's also good to hear that we have actually more events than some of the other communities.
Not that it's a competition.
Yeah, not that it's not, but with the next
Right.
mayors and supervisors meeting,
Numero uno.
Let them know.
You know, I've always said, and, you know, I have a good running group here in Hyde Park, and a lot of us stay around here because of the recreation that we do have here in Hyde Park, and it's fantastic. I love the trails, I love the parades, I love the music in the parks.
Yeah.
We really offer a lot to our residents,
Yeah.
and it's a reason to buy here, it's a reason to raise a family here, and it's a reason to stay here, so.
I drive around a lot and I see Ken on almost every road and trail we have.
I'm out there, baby.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for coming in.
Okay.
And for all your hard work. I know it takes a lot and it's a lot of volunteer time, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
Stay in touch.
Thank you,
Take
guys.
care. Okay, Emily, do you want to move quickly on to the drinking source water protection scorecard?
I would love
Give us
to.
a review of
Yeah, I
this.
just took this out of your folder in case you're looking for it,
Okay.
because I didn't bring my
Mhm.
copy.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just wanted to give everyone an update on the collaboration that's been going on among the municipalities that get drinking water from the Hudson River.
Yeah,
So,
really good.
as I think that we've mentioned before, Riverkeeper convened a group of the 7 municipalities that get drinking water from the Hudson, which on our side of the river is Town and Village of Rhinebeck, Hyde Park, Town and City of Poughkeepsie, and then on the other side of the river, Lloyd and Esopus. So putting all those together, it's 100,000 people that get their drinking water from the Hudson River. Yeah, it makes us like a city the size of Albany that's getting drinking water from the Hudson River when you put everybody together. So the main concern that kind of brought everyone together was the barges and the potential risk of oil in the Hudson and how that would affect our drinking water. But as everyone got together, we got to thinking about how we could work together to better protect our drinking water in general. And so the Riverkeeper actually worked with the Center for Watershed Protection to do a scorecard that looks over what planning and programs are already in place, and then gives some suggestions for action items for how we could better protect our drinking water source. And I think that everyone got a copy of this by email. Just to hit a couple of the highlights, the main recommendation that the Center for Watershed Protection made was that the communities should together advocate to have an update to our source water assessment report. The Department of Health did those, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or so, but there hasn't been an update. And it would be something that, rather than each community having its own source water assessment, you could really do one collectively, because all of our drinking water intakes are within about an 18-mile stretch of the Hudson River. So we're all basically drinking, roughly the same water that's subject to the same risks. So the source water assessment would identify things like what's the land cover in the area, what are some risk factors like different pollution sources, either permitted outfalls or hazardous materials or things in the watershed. And then also things going on in the river, like the barges and the transport of oil and trains alongside the river. So what are the various risks that we should be aware of and planning and protecting against to make sure that we have a reliable source of drinking water? So that was one of the big recommendations that's in this scorecard. And also just some other things that the municipalities could do either collectively or individually to update local laws, update planning and procedures, and just how we can all work together to protect the drinking water. So I won't belabor that. You all have a copy of it and you can read it over at your leisure. One thing I found interesting was that I had always wondered, the Hudson River watershed is massive. I mean, it's, most of the Adirondacks and the Catskills, and it's all this area that drains into the Hudson River. And how do you kind of focus? I mean, there's no way we can be concerned about that whole area. And the health department kind of has a recommendation that in an estuary where the water's flowing both directions with the tide, that you look at an area, I think it's 15 miles north and 5 miles south of your water intake, and kind of focus on that section of the river as the most critical for your risk assessment. So that's something that I learned from this report. So Riverkeeper is working to organize a press conference and a press release, and that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll keep you guys posted. And the idea is to, to kind of release this scorecard and let people know the work that we're doing. And then the next thing that's going to be coming up, and of course we'll come back to the board when we're ready to approach this, but we're looking to form an intermunicipal council. It looks like all 7 of the municipalities are interested. I was sick for the last meeting, but Aileen went.
It was
and
a
I
really
think
good meeting.
everyone was present,
very
right? All the-
supportive. And
yeah.
and it's, like you say, it's the community's joining together to protect the most vital resource. And
Exactly.
that's the drinking water. And so, it was very, very widely supported, and very grateful to Riverkeeper for kind of organizing us all.
Yeah, it's been really a nice opportunity
Yeah.
to get to know the people
Yeah.
from, especially across the river that we don't usually interact with, as well as, our neighbors in Poughkeepsie and
Yeah.
Rhinebeck. And I think everyone is really interested in, can we work together to ask the state to prioritize us for an updated source water assessment? Can we advocate for safety provisions for the barges and the trains? And can we seek grants? Riverkeeper has been working to get the water and wastewater needs of our area sort of on the state's radar, considering that when you put us together, we are this 100,000 people, that are relying on this drinking water. So.
And interestingly enough, that when you mentioned grants, they did discuss that being part of this council will allow us to apply for those intermunicipal water and sewer grants, which
good
prior to,
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
so before that, we were wondering how is it that Hyde Park could apply, but this,
Yeah.
forming this council will be a vehicle for us to do that, and that will be a tremendous resource for money for.
Is
for-
Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority part of this, or no? Is that
Well, it's really the
two political
municipalities, despite the
municipalities?
fact that they are the owner and administrator of our system, but
But I think they've been helping
Yeah,
to
they-
contribute data
They
on
have,
what our
yeah.
needs are.
So they're
that-
involved in the
yep,
process.
Yep.
but they won't really be represented at the
Right.
council because it is a government.
Government.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, so
Thank
that's
you for
kind of
doing
the quick
Yeah.
overview, and I think when the intermunicipal agreement draft is put together, we'll bring that back to the board, and
Right.
does anyone have concerns or anything you want to?
No, I think that's fantastic.
No, it's
I'm
really
passionate
smart.
on the
Yeah,
issue
it's good
myself,
stuff.
and always have been. I love the river and have seen it move from a cesspool to where it is now.
Yeah.
And we drink it. I never thought I would say that. But now that I'm retired, except for my job on the Hyde Park Town Board, I go down to the river a lot, and the traffic is amazing.
Yeah.
The barges and the bomb trains they call
Yeah.
the river. At least two freight trains a day with
Yeah.
those oil tankers,
Yeah.
and the barges continuously go to
Yeah.
Albany.
Well,
And-
yeah, I'm sorry, Dave.
Accidents happen on the river,
Yes,
as you
they
know,
do,
as
and-
a mariner.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys before, so stop me if I did, but one of the sort of early successes of this group getting together is that the Coast Guard did convene a 2-day meeting in Albany to get input from different stakeholders in the river, and we all kind of collaborated to nominate Randy Allstat from he's the Poughkeepsie Water Treatment Plant operator, and rather than just each municipality trying to send someone and how many people could really spend the 2 days, we all collaborated to nominate Randy, and they accepted him, and so that was really nice to have that representation for our municipalities, and then also that source of information back to us. So I think it's an important piece of the puzzle. Of course, everyone's concerned about the water quality of the river for lots of different reasons, recreation and fishing and everything else, but drinking water is,
Key.
essential.
Huge.
Like, we have 100,000 people that have no other water source.
It's
So,
huge.
yeah.
Good. All right, well, thanks, Emily. Appreciate that you're going all the time, and
Well,
I'm
thank
happy
you
to
for
fill in
coming
when
for
you
me.
can't. Yeah, it was very nice, actually. Okay, so just moving on then to the resolutions, and Emily, would you like to
Yeah.
start?
Resolution 251 of 2018, resolution authorizing the release of the balance of escrow for the Town of Hyde Park zoning administrator.
Second,
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-2 of 2018, resolution authorizing the release of the balance of escrow from the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Board according to Resolution number 18-AZ.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-3 of 2018, resolution authorizing the attorney to the town to execute a consent order and judgment in the matter of Four Seasons Groceries and Deli, Inc. versus Town of Hyde Park tax
Certiorari. Yeah, it's hard to.
proceeding.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-4 of 2018, resolution amending the Town of Hyde Park fee schedule for the Recreation Department for 2018.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye. It's okay.
Resolution 255 of 2018, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Director to seek proposals for the development of a website for the Hyde Park trails.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-6 of 2018, resolution accepting donations from the Hyde Park Knights of Columbus and the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce for Hyde Park Recreation's 2018 Music in the Parks.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank them.
Resolution 25-7 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town clerk and town engineer to solicit bids for the repairs to the Hyde Park Highway Salt Barn and Highway Garage lower roof.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-8 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to accept proposal from Morris Associates for landfill monitoring services for 2018.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 259 of 2018, resolution to request New York State DEC advance a rulemaking process for tanker avoidance zones.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-10 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a government entity tower license agreement with T-Mobile Northeast LLC for co-location on the Town of Hyde Park Communications Tower.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And
Now-
this is great to have another entity going on our cell tower.
What about, didn't we talk about Verizon?
They
they're
are.
up.
They're done.
Oh, they're done?
They're done, so this is a co-location,
Oh,
so.
great.
Yeah, so
Great.
that's going to be good for the T-Mobile users,
Mobile.
and I believe the Verizon one is up and running.
I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually noticed.
Have you noticed an
I haven't
improvement in
noticed it.
service?
That's
Yeah.
right.
I
Oh,
paid
it's
attention
not-
now.
I have
I'll have to look, see if that dead spot is resolved. in
Yeah.
PNG.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it has, because I don't have a dead spot. I guess I would.
That's right.
Resolution 25-11 of 2018, resolution approving budget revisions to the Town of Hyde Park for the period of December 2017, budget revisions number 2017-12.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I do have a email that I'd like to read, because we often get emails that are from rather dissatisfied customers, shall we say. But this one was it was really very satisfied customer, and I just would like to be able to read that to the town board. And it's addressed to me, Ms. Rohr. I wanted to take a minute to let you know what a good experience I had recently working with Rich Longendijk in the building department. Rich helped me through the building permit process for a fuel tank and furnace replacement at my parents' house on Roosevelt Road. I do not live locally, and the logistics of the permit and inspection process posed potential hurdles. In addition, I have worked with other building departments in other towns as part of my job and have had negative experiences with their responsiveness. My experience with Rich could not have been better. He personally walked me through the process when I was at the office and helped fill out the application. He used common sense for the logistics of delivering payment and completing final inspection. He took extra time to resend me a copy of the certificate of compliance in electronic form at the end of the job. Maybe the best part, he responded to all my requests almost immediately every step of the way. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of the good work he is doing and how well he represents the town. I appreciate all of his help.
How about that?
So isn't that just great? And,
Thank you, Rich.
thank you, Rich, because he does an excellent job for us, for the town, for officials. He has just completed a number of fire inspections and brought made sure that the buildings that are public gathering places are safe for our residents, and he's really done a bang-up job on that, and I can see on other things, so it's very, very happy with Rich, and thank him for that.
Very
Yeah,
good.
and just one other accolade would really be for our highway department. Those guys have been working, it
I
seems like,
know.
every weekend, evenings, and early
So
mornings.
true.
We've just had so much of, the freezing rain and
Yeah.
these little annoying storms that they have to be out on, and those guys are really doing a great job. Our roads are in great shape, and Howie's been doing a great job over there, so,
I agree, and they are still looking for wingmen or
Yes.
wingwomen.
yes.
So they're in fairly, not desperate need, but they would really have a lot of opportunities. And you just have to be 18 and willing to work when called. So, all right, so may I then have a resolution to adjourn?
So moved?
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks.
Aileen, can I
Yes.
see you just for a minute?
Sure, how are you doing?